Queen Brand presents the Vernissage Experience. What is that? It's me coming to you, showcasing my inventory, chance to review my portfolio, and a chance to order custom work, all via the services that I provide. Meet the artist, light, love, legacy. Greetings and salutations. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate your life, your light, your time. I just want to listen to me for a little while. I have some nuggets that I want to share with you. But before I do so, just a couple of announcements. So if you check the links in the bio or in this description, I'm in a couple of photo contests, right? Trying to get the brand out there. And I've said often recently, I don't want to be known for my art just to be known. I want to be in a place and space where I can have the conversation and speak on my inspiration. Of course, it's coming from the Most High God, sweet Adonai, my Jehovah, and I can always link the conversation to the who, what, when, where, how, and why because of my own journey as an artist. So, God showed himself first in creation as creator. I think that's very strategic and speaks to a lot of what and who we are and what we have inside of us. And so part of my brand, or the core of it, or foundation really, is to exude that, to inspire others to do the very same. I'm in a part of that with the brand. I'm actually in a couple of exhibitions, so make sure you follow me. That way you can stay in tune. I'm in one now at Red Dog Gallery, that's in Winston, and I'm about to be in another one again in Newton at NoCo Arts down there in that great community. And it's just been great to connect with other artists and be seen. At the end of the day, it's a great feeling. I just released a new design for the brand, so check out. I actually have a sale coming up, site sale coming because of the holiday, so be in tune for that. You can get you a t-shirt and some other apparel, just because. Why not rock out something that represents something you can understand and somebody that you either know or can get to know, versus it just be something that someone you spend money on these top brand whomever's and it's really just hitting their pockets, and it's just because of a name and not necessarily quality or something you can relate to. Nevertheless, one of my dreams, I said some years ago, I wanted to be able to have my own clothes. Like, why not? God is no respecter of persons, so why should I shift from just thinking highly of myself and representing that to encourage others to do the very same? That's why Queen stands for what it does. Kingdom, unique, educated, eclectic, Nubian. It's the whole thing, to really connect with our people, my people, specifically. So, which is actually kind of alluding to the topic that I was given today. So shout out to teacher Nashiera. She is in our church community at KLCC, Kingdom Life Christian Center. And you follow me, you'll see all about my church community because I do testify quite often on the internet on just what I'm gaining and how I'm growing and in my journey in that. And in that, it's about people you connect with. And so teacher, she is a great teacher, not only in the school systems, but in the house of the Lord. And in asking those who follow what subjects to kind of really speak on, although I can just pray and seek Holy Spirit, I wanted to get more of a intention. I wanted to be more intentional with it. So last month, I believe, I had a topic go out from one of my brothers, and this is from one of my sisters. So in asking, what is it, something that you feel is relevant to be heard or discussed or put out for food for thought, she mentioned Black representation. And I thought that was phenomenal because of just who she is in the secular world, being a teacher and being a Black face in a space of education. And so to speak to why it's important and really how our community just benefits from it. So when I started meditating on what Black representation is, just right now, of course I got to go to the Word. So I thought of a couple figures. If you think on or know of the story of Moses, I mean, I love how he really thrived in his identity once he figured it out. He was, we know he was born and put in the baskets, sent up the Nile. His sister watched over him, and he lived and grew up and was raised in the palace. So he had riches, but his calling was to be a deliverer, and he removed himself. Different scenarios took place, but he ended up reconnecting with his people. That's when he really stepped into the light, and it wasn't even like him being super rich and famous. It was about him fulfilling. So it wasn't that he was in his priestly robes and things like that. No, he was out in the desert with the people. And he went back through obedience to lead them out of a place of desolation into a place of promise. It all came from this one individual saying, hey, this is who I am, and these are my people, and I want what's best for them. And so I'm going to obey God, and we're going to walk forward into the light. He really thrived and was very effective once he reconnected back to who he was. He was able to lead people, his own. Think about that. I also thought about, oddly enough, the story of Daniel. Well, that story comes up often because my boyfriend's name is Daniel. So I'm reminded of what that name looks like, what it means. And Daniel stayed true to who he was. He didn't bow. And he was rewarded, even spiritually, for not going against who he was. Think how inspirational that is, how it's necessary even now. So many things go against what we really believe and who we are. We have to be resolute within ourselves, and it helps when you can lean on a story or a person such as Daniel. Me personally, I can, my boo. I can lean on his discipline. I can lean on his faith, even though I have faith, but the strength of who he is helps me to be who I am. We can connect in that way. We learn well when we can identify with those who are leading us through identity, looking like what we see and how we sound, the language of it. I think about the household. We are grown by people typically that look like us. And even if you think about hair, for instance, black hair versus any other hair, like every ethnicity, it takes our own to really learn and teach you how to do your hair. Like, not everybody has that knowledge, because it's a lived experience. So it's way easier to trust and understand from someone who has walked those same steps, who looks like you, has hair like you, things like that. And so it is very impactful. Think about the classrooms that you've been in, or rooms specifically. Is often, especially within the black culture, anytime we go somewhere, we subconsciously look for our own. I think about when I've been in art exhibitions or art shows, and sometimes I'm the only black face. I like those moments because I don't water down who I am. So I'm going to have my locks all the way out, or my full lips, they going to pop, or just different parts of what makes us who we are. I'm not going to hide any of that, because that's a part of the reason why I'm in the space. But it took some time to get there, of course. That's a whole nother recording. But I also think about, I love HBCUs. I went to Winston-Salem State University because I see red. But I went because I wanted more of what I was already used to, what I was comfortable with in the learning environment. And so, and then just being drawn by learning more and being about our culture, I got a lot out of that, more probably outside the classroom than in, because of just who I was around. I found my tribe, literally. I think it's important that people have that as an intentional focus in their lives, regardless of where. But specifically, HBCUs came about because, for the most part, we didn't have a place anywhere else to receive higher education, to be professionally trained. So we created a space, or a space was created and we mastered to not only have it in one institution, but multiple, several. I actually work for another HBCU, and I love it because it's very easy to have the conversation about what matters to us, the language of us, because it's a lived experience, lived and shared. Graduation season is upon us, right? Many through high school and college. And I think about here where I work at A&T, Queen Latifah was the keynote speaker for the undergraduate commencement. And I was like, wow, I wish I could be them living that experience. There's just something to be cultivated by our very own. I think even within my office and department, we are strategic about when we partner and contract with vendors for certain things to seek those who look like us, because we want students to see us in different spaces, and it gives the influence of, if I can do it, you can do it too. Or, hey, you see me, you can do this. Like, it's not impossible. You can graduate, come back and serve. There is a place, and it looks different for everybody, but the possibility of it all when it's displayed before us. She said a couple things I wrote down, and I have to go back and look at the whole speech again, but she said some things that I'm like, man, this is kind of how I live, and it's great for these students today to hear what she said. So she said a few things like, be brave enough to walk down a road that no one else can see but you. And that struck with me because I work in a school that thrives on innovation. Our culture, our people have created quite a bit of things, and so that took the mindset of being brave and doing things. Think about the movie Hidden Figures, literally word verbatim, and the story itself. They were brave to walk down a road that no one else. Moses was brave to do something literally nobody else has done or did after the fact in that manner. But that bravery comes with courage, connecting with faith, of course. She also said, you have to believe in yourself more than anyone else. And I really like that. Think about, just if you know anything about her life, her as an artist, her as a black woman, she did it differently. The things that she inserted her, like being on the magazine of CoverGirl as a black woman, that opens the door for a lot of the students that I see daily or have seen who are interested in cosmetology to not only be on a cover, but to create it, to have a brand and a name. That's amazing. One more thing that she said, Queen Latifah, in her speech, she said, I was presenting myself the way I saw myself. And that hit home for me too, because even the name Queen, Kingdom Unique, Educated, Eclectic Nubian, she was the only black woman really bold back in the day, in the 80s and 90s, and well, still, because she still creates, to call herself a queen. But she wasn't living that life until she fully embraced it throughout her journey and became it, and she filled out her crown. We got to see ourselves beyond where we are. And one big way to do that is to put yourself, or to be fortunate enough to be in a space where someone looks like you 10 years from now, 5 years from now, or can be a good Samaritan to deposit some knowledge into your heart and have your mind ponder over it all, so you can really sit on the fact and the truth of there's legacy, there's value, there's worth, and it's not what others may say or what has been exited out of books, but it's the lived experience. And think about before language and writing even started, it was conversations, and so people learn through sitting and having conversations with those who lived it out, look like them, and can tell you how to be a better you because they're doing it. A tree bears fruit of its own kind. That is the absolute truth. Black leaders birth black leaders. And when we don't see what we don't see what we used to see maybe in decades past. Why? Because that process has stopped. So it behooves us to really take hold of what black representation looks like. If we want the next generation to elevate, we got to show them how. And we have to be bold enough to put ourselves in spaces and places to do just that. And here's food for thought as I close out. Who are you leading? Like, really, who are you leading with your life like? And real talk, are you representing well with all that's been shown and given and imparted into you? Are you representing that well? Are you being a Queen Latifah in a graduation commencement speech? Are you being a voice of reason? Are you being a Moses? Are you being Daniel? And it's not to say that you have to always be seen, but somebody's always looking at you. And so there's that, because we're living epistles. How are we representing that? How am I representing that? That's a part of my thought when I come and I share things, because how dare I not? Like, if I want you to succeed, let me do my part and share what worked for me and what didn't work. You know, how life is teaching me and what heaven is showing me to impart into you. If I don't, then how can you get water and grow? Ask yourself, can a young black girl or a boy, 12 years old, 8 years old, 15 years old, can they be inspired by who they see and how you live your life? Food for thought. And so I want you to take a moment, share this conversation. You can comment and pose even more questions. We can definitely open it up for discussion. And this can be, placed in any ethnicity, but for the purposes of Clean Brand, we're going to talk about our people. It's important for us to have black faces in black spaces, and then support and not try to always ask for a handout or ask for discounts. No, do what we do for everybody else and pay full price and give great customer service, be the good customer. And then support, sharing and passing the word along is free. It does not cost you. It does not cost you. So I encourage you to continue to not only do that for Queen Brand, but for anybody. There's space for all of us. So let's lift each other up and do it responsibly by how you live in your life. Make it a point to impart some wisdom into the next generation. I love being a life coach and a mentor. I love the fact that I have access to not only impact students, but my peers, my coworkers as well in this black space. I lean in on it heavily, and I don't die down. I have my bold red glasses, my lips pop, my hair, my locks. I've connected with students because of that, especially with locks and tattoos, actually. Because I'm an artist, so, but I'm real about, who I am. I don't hide. And that's opened the door for many conversations for students to even feel as I'm a safe space. I love that. And so I wish that same thing for you, There's something to it. So again, who are you leading? It matters. You matter. And are you representing the best that was put into you and pouring it out, or are you hoarding it all to yourself? How can you get more when you're still holding on to what you got, really? And again, can some young black girl or black boy look at your life, look at your light, listen to you, and be inspired? I pray so. In the blessed name of Yeshua. Till next time, take care of yourself. Love yourself. Be good to yourself, because you're no good to others till you're good to yourself. So let's do that collectively. Keep each other lifted. And just shed positive light everywhere. Be like Christ to everyone, just 'cause. It's coming back to you. Love you to life. Later, loves. Yes, until next time. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate your life. I wish all things well for you and yours. Feel free to donate or sow, if led, into this good ground. Let's continue to make an impact together, one day, one moment, one conversation at a time. Bless.